Champions League, the second week of games. We are so excited for this one. Manchester City host Barcelona. We are here from YouTube Space LA. Let's talk some tactics. Let's not forget to mention that Yaya Toure will be suspended for this game, so that is a crucial point to mention. But let's look at Manchester City's formation in their last game against Stoke. That is notable for me. The reason I picked this game against Stoke is because I thought this is where they were at some moments they were at their best. So they went with a 4-4-1-1, which I imagine they will go with a similar formation against Barcelona, who will come out, I think, attacking with their usual 4-3-3. So there's a few points that I want to highlight before this game commences. And the first thing I want to say is for Manchester City's third goal, that is when Manchester City are at their best, playing short, sharp football in between the likes of David Silva, Nasri, which ended up going into the box for a James Milner goal. And this is what they're going to have to do against Barcelona, because first and foremost, Barcelona have got their act together defensively and in an attacking sense. So you need to find a way to shut them down, but also make sure, obviously, not to concede goals. So imagine this is what they're going to play with their usual 4-4-2. With no Yaya Toure, I think they will go with a partnership in there of Fernando and Fernandinho, who both have the problem of playing exactly square, because they're both similar players and they both move up together and move back. But against Barcelona, you cannot give up this space, because this is where the likes of Messi will drop in here, pick the ball up, Suarez will make his loop and run, and of course Neymar, not off the field, but down the line. So you need to make sure that that space is fulfilled. Fernando or Fernandinho need to sit in this area and not give up any of that room. Defensively, they cannot play a high line like Levante did. Point and comment, Levante lost 5-0, and each and every goal they tried to step up as a team and cut Barcelona into this space, which some teams like Atletico Madrid do well, but they gave out all the room in behind, and Barcelona are so talented they'll flick balls in behind, and it will absolutely kill you. So Manchester City need to go between sitting deeper, but also not giving them so much space. So it's a complicated situation when you have a front three who are so dynamic, Suarez, Neymar and Messi. But the way I would play it, this is my tactical point that I must pinpoint for Manchester City, is with company diving in so much, I think Manchester City need to have someone staggered, because they don't want to step too high up and allow for the likes of Messi to stem in behind. And of course, they're going to run the risk of becoming too deep here, but that outnumbers the risk of playing too high up and allowing the balls to get in behind like Levante did and were punished so badly. So I would play company a little bit deeper, whether he partners with Demichelis or whoever's going to play in there, and make sure that Zabaleta and Clichy tuck in tight. They have to have a 4 at the back, but they have to be tucked in when Barcelona come and attack, because you want to limit Barcelona to their space in the middle. You want to force them out wide, get them to try and cross the ball in, because you're outnumbered. You're going to have bigger defenders in there who will win the ball in the air. You don't mind allowing Barcelona to go wide as long as their crosses are in there and dealt with. But what you don't want is to be too spread out and allow for these gaps through the middle and the gaps over the top if you're too high up. So defensively, that's how I think Manchester City need to focus. From an attacking standpoint, Manchester City need to exploit Barcelona's slight weakness that they show sometimes, and it's defending balls from wide. I sound like a broken record because I keep seeing these teams who are talented going forward are weak from wide areas. But that is where Barcelona show some signs of weakness, even though they've not showed a lot recently. And it comes from getting that space, similar to what Barcelona will try and exploit, in between their midfield and their back line. Because when you exploit someone like Sergio Busquets and have him forced up in this area, and you've got spaces in here for your smaller players who are dynamic on the ball, like your David Silvas, like your Jesus Navas, like your Nasris, to play some football in here and then get it wide, whip it in the box for Aguero to try and get on the end of, and obviously a low cross in there. It all comes from allowing to draw out Sergio Busquets, and that forces guys like Mateo, who I don't think is the best defender in the world at the moment, but he's a good solid defender, but he gets caught diving in sometimes, similar to a company. And if you can force him out of his back four, the comfort of that back four, and allow them to kind of be caught out with no really understanding if they're in the same line, it'll allow for runs in behind from the likes of Aguero and Dzeko to get in there. So try and exploit and draw Sergio Busquets out from that holding midfield position. Try and get the ball into the area between the 18-yard box and the halfway line. I think Manchester City could have a chance. But let's talk about the team who we have to all watch and admire. Barcelona. Barcelona in the last 3 or 4 games, I think they've went 5-2, 3-1, 5-0. They're clearly scoring, they're firing in all cylinders, and it's because of their front three who are understanding each other more than ever, especially Lionel Messi. So, well, this is the formation that I imagine that Barcelona will play. This is the formation they had against Levante. It's a 4-3-3, and Iniesta will probably come into the team. Busquets will push in the middle, drop a little bit deeper with Rakitic, or they might even go with Xavi and Iniesta, obviously the veterans in there. But it's the front three you need to worry about. Pedro will not be playing. I don't think it won't start. Luis Suarez will definitely start through the middle with Messi on the right side, but he'll wander deep and Neymar on the left. And this is the reason why they're going to be so dangerous against a team like Man City, unless Man City employed the slight staggered movement, I think. Because Man City are often caught with guys like Company who like to step up and win tackles in this area, and that is just bread and butter for someone like Messi or Suarez to draw in the foul, or if it is a foul, or draw in the tackle in there and leaves room for Messi to run in behind. Because not only did Barcelona attack with Messi, Neymar and Suarez, but Dani Alves, if you watch him, as much as I don't think he's a great defender, he'll run right down this line and he'll drag players out because they think he's going to create that space, and it allows room for Messi. If you watch the game against Levante, Messi came from the right-hand side on numerous occasions and was allowed space in there. So Gael Clichy needs to watch out for that run and not be caught by what is like a screen in basketball. It's something like Alves will run, take that defender out, screen him, and it'll allow for Messi to stem through the middle. But that's not talking about Manchester City's defensive issues. It's just almost impossible to defend against Barcelona when they're flying forward because they have a great attacking threat of bringing everyone up when they counter-attack. And Luis Suarez, for me, is finally getting into his role and understanding what he has to do. Suarez is dropping deep more than he's ever dropped, I think. Since he played at Liverpool, he would make these dynamic runs in behind and try and get on the end of crosses, but he drops deep and he takes it. And what this allows is for your Lionel Messi to stem through the middle, and Neymar, who often pulls wide. And they almost work as a front three, but two centre forwards together, and Neymar will pull wide, and he'll get a lot more space to cut inside and use that gifted right foot. So I think that Manchester City will go at this game as if they are playing at the Nou Camp. I don't think I think they might be a little bit more defensive to start with, but I imagine that Barcelona will attack them from all areas and try and exploit Manchester City's inexperience in going into win tackles. Like, I think Company is experienced, but against teams like in the Champions League, like Barcelona, he'll be caught wanting to win the ball rather than just sitting, having a staggered defence of him and Demichelis, either one stopping and one sweeping. So it's going to be a complicated game. I could break down the tactics all night for both of these teams because they are two great teams, but it's going to be an interesting game. I do think that Barcelona will come away with a 2-1 victory from the Etihad Stadium, and I think that Barcelona, for me, are the favourites to go through. Not saying that Manchester City can't cause an upset. Those are my predictions. I was pretty close. I got a couple of them right last week, so let's see if I can try and get these ones right. Make sure to subscribe to TYT Sports Champions League tactics, Champions League recaps, Champions League talk all around TYT Sports in the next few weeks and the upcoming months. Looking forward to it. Don't forget to subscribe.